Alright guys, welcome back to another video. Obviously today we're talking about Kitana and Darrius. Definitely a very interesting team. Not the best because, let's be honest, that's how Darrius as a cameo is designed. But as usual, if you like this type of content, please drop a like on the video. It helps me in spreading my content throughout YouTube. And if you have any comments, leave them down below. I'm guaranteed to answer you within 24 hours. And help your boy out. We're on the road to 500 subs. Dropping a sub, costs you guys nothing. Helps me out a lot. And you guys will get notified every time I drop an MK video or go live with MK. So, we all do everything on literally YouTube. So you guys will get notified straight away. So anyway, let's talk about some overall things that Darrius does for Kitana. First of all is you get 50 health. If that is something you're interested in, obviously it can help you live maybe one more hit, one more combo. That's always nice in some situations. It's not useful in every situation, but sometimes in that nitty-gritty situation where you might die and you need that bit of extra health, Darrius can provide that for you if you want that. Now, another very solid thing that Darrius does is give Kitana a decent amount of damage, right? So I'm just going to do a very simple combo for you guys, and I'm going to show you guys that you literally get a lot of damage for not a lot of effort, right? Like 41.1% for a full cameo usage and no meter, by the way. So, and that's off a back 2-4, which is not her most damaging starter. So that you do get finally some very good damage, especially in the mid-screen. In the corner, it's not as high as Cyrax, for example, and it's not as deadly as Cyrax, and I'll get onto that in a little bit. But with Darrius, you do guarantee some very good mid-screen damage, and they're a lot easier to do than Cyrax, because Cyrax was very execution heavy with Kitana. This is nowhere near the amount of execution needed compared to Cyrax. Setups in the corner are still possible, as usual. You do Kitana things, you do the unblockable setups, which you guys will see in the unblockable section of the video, with all the setups and all that sort of thing. And I also have the Darrius 50/50 armor breaking setups, which you guys will also see in that section of the video, in the setup section. I have a lot of setups in this one. Now, in terms of how much meter you're spending in combos, you're not going to spend a lot of meter in combos besides 1-1 in the mid-screen, right? And then you just do standing 4, for example. That's like the only reason. Other than that, you can still get 1-1 meterless, by the way. Right. Right, and then if you time it properly, you can get a jump 3-4. Which I haven't been practicing all that much, but just to show you guys, that is one of the meterless ways. And most of the combos in this video are meterless because you want to save your meter for, breaking and all that sort of thing. Because you are Kitana, some things are pretty inconsistent, unfortunately. That's just her by design, and she's not a great character in terms of her own buttons. You also, because Darrius does the unblockable setup for you in the corner with just the cameo button, right? So you do cameo, right, and then you do the input for the what is wrong with me, you do the input for the unblockable, right, and in the corner it would work. I'll just quickly show you guys that, right? So he hits, right, and if you time it too early, you can see that it ends up being a combo. So you got to wait just a little bit, and then you can do the unblockable setup, in which, it beats jumping, mashing, armor, and blocking. So, yeah. The thing compared to Cyrax, right, for example, is even though Darrius gives you a very easy setup for the unblockable in the corner, unlike Cyrax, he doesn't let you loop it over and over and over again. With Cyrax, if Kitana had Cyrax and you were just in the corner and you got opened up, you could legitimately die if you did not have enough health. If you had less than 900 health, you were most likely dead if Kitana had a full cameo meter. And she could deny you from breaking as well with the Cyrax net on top of that. So Yeah, it's like a ridiculous team. Whereas Darrius, even though he gives you the unblockable setup, it's not loopable because, let's be honest, once you use this move, look at how long it takes for, you know, Darrius's meter to come back. It takes a very long time. So you can't use it in the same essence of Cyrax. So let's get into the nitty-gritty of what Darrius is doing for you. Now, obviously, this is the main move that you're using, which is straight up the kameo button. He does the kick, and this leads into a multitude of different follow-up attacks, which I'll explain in a minute. But this move, for example, if you don't know, Kitana can be armored through so many gaps. It's not funny. So, right, let's say we have Mr. Liu Kang here on, right, so you can armor through back to 4, but if I did, right, I fully win that trade, for example. Now, if I did a longer string, which is 2-4-1-2, 2-4 is where the gap is, so it still technically doesn't work, right? But it definitely gets me the trade, right? Now, if you're in the corner, this is a lot easier to confirm. In the mid-screen, it's a little harder, but you can use it for that instance. If you think the opponent is going to armor, Darrius will kick them in the face and you get the trade in your favor, of course. Not the best use because, let's be honest, you're using an entire kameo meter just for that, which is one of Darrius's biggest flaws, is that if you want to do all the cool stuff and all the stuff that really matters, you have to use this move. And yeah, it takes a long time to come back, and we'll talk about sort of circumventing that a little bit in a second. You can also, you know, use it for pressure off a string, for example. So, you know, now even though he could armor through that, right, it is pressure, so if you want to also use it for that as well, you can. But like I said, you're using a full kameo meter for that, so not the best use, because you want to be using your kameo as much as possible. And when you use that for very simple things like that, you are basically playing MK1 with a huge disadvantage. Let's get into some of the follow-ups, right? So, for example, let's say we did the very basic combo of this right here, right? You can do back kameo, which this is going to be your most damaging way to end your combos, right? You're going to do this. Sorry about that. We're gonna do and your most damaging way would be, you know, do kameo into back kameo, then jump 1-1-2. That's how you get the most damage every single time as Kitana Darrius. However, even though this allows for the most amount of damage, remember this is taking up the entire kameo meter, right? So even though you're getting a lot of damage, right, look at how long the kameo is going to take to come back. It's taking a very, very long time. Now you also have the follow-up of kameo into back kameo. Sorry about that. You also have the follow-up of kameo into back kameo forward kameo, which is the kick, and this depletes 1 bar of super meter from the opponent. So if you want to use that with this team, you can, but I do not recommend it because you should be ending the combo in a different way. You can also, like I was saying before, once you do kameo into back kameo and forward kameo, this denies, you know, breaker and, you know, wake up in certain circumstances depending on how much meter the opponent has and all that sort of thing. So yeah, just keep that in mind as well. And that way is going to be this, right? So you're going to do this, kameo, back kameo again. I know I whiffed it there. So back kameo, and then back kameo again. And this regenerates half of Darrius's meter. And this cuts down the cooldown time of Darrius by more than half, by the way. Because when you do use it, in terms of a full cameo meter, and you use it, let's say, with front cameo, right, it's taking the full thing. Now, if I use it in the most damaging way, which is to cancel it into jump 1-2, or 1-1-2, I should say, right, like it does a cancel animation, then starts recharging. But the most efficient way to play this team is to do back cameo and then end your combo in back cameo again, so you get Darrius back as soon as possible so you can do more Darrius things, right? Let's talk about some setups. Now, we have forward cameo. The best way to use forward cameo is by cutting your combo short by a lot. And I mean a lot. In some circumstances, you have to spend 1 bar of meter in the mid screen for it to even work. So with forward 1-2, for example, right, I'd have to spend the meter on this setup, right? But you get the 50-50, right? So you're spending 1 bar on forward 1-2 and 2-1-4-2. But if you did this with, as you can see, if you use back 2-4, you can forward dash, get the confirm, and then go into 50-50, which literally is a hard to blockable if you time it exactly right. And it breaks armor every single time. So even though you're cutting the combo short in the mid screen by a lot and in the corner, you can use it in those scenarios. And I'll just quickly show you guys in the corner. It's not anything too fancy, right? It's literally just doing the string into the fan nade. And as you can see, you get the 50-50 and the armor break, and you can confirm into back 2-4 and get a full combo and all that sort of thing. So yeah, most likely you are going to open the opponent up when you're using this setup, because it's a super hard to blockable, and if they think they can armor out of it, well, they can't, because it's 2 hits and it's going to get them every single time. So yeah, that's exactly how you use front cameo with Kitana. Like I said, you're literally sacrificing a lot of damage in your previous combo to get the setup. Now, the best way of using Darrius' setup is down cameo. Now, as you can see, if I press down cameo now, nothing happens and it makes the ant sound. So that's not how you use this move. You use this move on a knockdown, and it works exactly like front cameo did, right? It does the exact same animation, but as soon as they hit the ground, you can input it and it does the exact same thing. The only difference between cameo into front cameo, right, and then doing it, or doing front cameo into this, right, the difference is you can see, Liu Kang doesn't get popped up. That's the only difference. But this can be circumvented if you use back 3 at the exact same time. Now, if your opponent armors, they are going to get launched no matter what. So, for example, right, you can literally do things like that by holding down. If you use the low option, you can also, I just want to show you guys, right, you can still get the launch on that type of thing. That's not the optimal combo, but you can still get the launch even though Darrius doesn't pop the opponent up, right? So that's just another way you can use this setup, and I highly recommend using this version over the front cameo version, because you can do a fully optimal combo. Let's do a optimal base kit Kitana combo and then end it with Darrius, right? And you can still get your confirm off your optimal Kitana base kit combo. And you only used half a cameo, by the way. Which, in the forward cameo into this, yes, you're also only using half a cameo meter. But just keep in mind that this is just straight up guaranteed. And your opponent literally can't get rid of Darrius unless it's a Jax or something. Like, Jax would grab him for the instance in that example, and the opponent would literally have to read that on wake up, in which they'll probably get launched anyway by you, because they won't be blocking to get that type of thing, and they're only, even if they use their kameo invincible wake up, they're only invincible for 1 hit. And remember, you're getting hit at this pretty much almost the same time, only a few frames apart, which means it counts as 2 hits, and it's not going to save you when you're using invincible wake ups. So that is also another thing to keep in mind. And there is another setup. So let's say, for example, let's just go into the corner. You can do this in the mid screen as well, but it's a bit better in the corner. Now I'm going to do a very simple combo just to show you guys how this works, because there is another extender on forward kameo, right? And that is pressing stance change. Now you must hold the kameo button down the entire time after front kameo, by the way, and then they'll do this move together. And it ends up in this situation right here, and it works like a special move, does 20% all the time and leaves the opponent very close to you. So you can do this off your optimal combos as well, because that's how you can set it up. So let's say Liu Kang did a wake up and we wanted to use this move. What would be the hit reaction, right? So we'll do very simple kameo combo, right? It ends up in him getting relaunched, right? So as you can see, he's eating a lot of damage just for using his armor, and you just literally pressing stance change on the wake up, and it will literally break armor every single time. Just remember, there is a low and a high. So let's say we do a very simple combo just to show you guys, right, what happens on block. You can see I am +8. So even if your opponent blocks, you are +8. If your opponent armors, they get launched. If they mash, they eat 20%. If they jump, they eat 20%. So when the game is almost, or your opponent is very close to dying, the stance change after front kameo is actually not a half bad option. Because now you're +8, and with Kitana, +8 actually is no joke. Because, you know, you have a 15 frame and then you have a 12 frame mids, which your opponent literally has to eat, and no amount of help is going to get them out of it. So especially forward 1-2, because this can armor break really well if the opponent thinks they can do that. Plus it does good chip damage and all that sort of thing, so they can close the round out for you if you need to do that. And let's talk about back kameo real quick. You can see that this just does 12 damage. I don't recommend using it as a summon. As you can see, it uses half kameo meter. You usually use this in this sequence right here, right? Which is back kameo, then back kameo again, right? Just to get your meter back, and it's essentially like you just use this by itself, but you just got a whole bunch more damage because, well, yeah, he regenerates the meter when you use it at the end of that. So that's a much better way of using it. And if your opponent, for example, knocks you down, right? Let's say Mr. Liu Kang just knocks me down, and let's say he doesn't have, let's say it's not Liu Kang, right? He doesn't have forward 4, he just uses back 1-3 or something. Back 2-3, I should say. As you can see, this is your invincible wake up. Now, if it was against Liu Kang's forward 4, for example, right, you're still gonna get hit. So, yeah, you're still gonna get armor broken in that sense. So, just be careful of how you use it on your wake up. I don't suggest fully using it because characters, obviously, like Liu Kang, are going to make you eat a very hefty combo in the corner, which will be like 50%, and then you'll be regretting playing Kitana altogether. So, yeah, that's pretty much it for Darrius Kitana. It's definitely not the best team compared to like Cyrax, which we did last video, which you guys can check out in the top right hand corner of the screen right now. That Kitana Cyrax is almost broken. It's almost a very broken team. But Kitana Darrius, it's not as execution heavy, does a lot easier damage than Kitana Cyrax ever did, right? Also, it just straight up gets her more damage than you ever could have gotten in the mid screen without spending like any meter. You get the Darrius 50-50 armor breaking setups, which is pretty nice, I would say, but not super necessary because you're Kitana and you have an unblockable setup. So like I said, Darrius isn't the best, but it's definitely some fun, and I think you guys should just try it out, just for fun, maybe in casuals. Definitely don't chuck it into Combat League, because you guys will be definitely regretting doing that. So, yeah, that's pretty much it. As usual, if you like this type of content, please drop a like on the video. It helps me in spreading my content throughout YouTube. And if you have any questions, leave them in the comments down below. I'm guaranteed to answer you within 24 hours. And if you like Kitana and in MK1, guess what? We're covering Kitana with every single cameo in Gear 2 of MK1. So hit that subscribe button, hit the notification bell. Costs you guys nothing, helps me out a lot. And you guys get notified every time I drop a Kitana, Noob, Liu Kang, Shang discussion, MK video. Every time I go live, you guys will be notified about it. I do regular posts as well, just to keep you guys engaged, and obviously asking your thoughts and all that sort of thing, which is always some nice community engagement, which is something I'm trying to build with you guys. As usual, guys, I'm going to leave it off there. The combos and the setups and all that sort of thing are going to start playing in a second, so I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. See yous.